Hi there, welcome to iTWireTV. Today, our special guest is the Udemy Vice President and Managing Director for APAC, Peter Kokkinos. Thank you so much, Peter, for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me, David. Really good to be here.
Yeah, now, Peter, I think hopefully we all have an idea of what Udemy is, but just for safety, what is Udemy?
Yeah, look, let me just spend a little bit of time just giving you a little bit about me, and then I'll sort of roll into that. I've spent the last 30 years of my career in the ed tech and HCM space. Been working with what must be thousands of organizations all over the world and helping them build mission critical skills that they're reshaping their businesses. And as someone who is very values driven, it's been the perfect space for me to operate in. And today, as Vice President and Managing Director, as you said, I have the privilege of leading the regional strategy for Udemy in APAC. And, I support over 160 amazing Udemites on Udemy's mission to improve lives through learning. So I love what I do and I love the people I work with. I have a real passion for it, especially now that as AI sort of reshapes the way people work and learn. And I think that Udemy has a really important, role in to help the world get ready for that future. So, and it's coming fast, right? So, I'm excited about that opportunity. But as far as Udemy goes, I define Udemy as an AI powered skills acceleration platform. Bit of a mouthful. But essentially, it's designed to help individuals and businesses, individuals through our marketplace and businesses through our Udemy business platform, to thrive in the world where, look, I truly believe practical skills for people are an incredibly valuable currency and getting more valuable as time comes on. So um, there's a lot of factors that differentiate an AI-powered skills acceleration platform from the traditional e-learning platforms that you and I and others are used to engaging over the years. But at its core, it's I think it's a complete reimagination of the traditional find course, do course model that so many of us have been used to using, and maybe your organization is using today. But to sort of refine it a little more, there's thousands of potential use cases we can talk about that define the difference between traditional e-learning platforms and Udemy. But I've got a really cool one that we're seeing emerging, amongst our customers. So I think to help illustrate the difference, let me just sort of share that with you. So imagine if you work in finance for a large enterprise organization and you
Yes.
see your company's needs to hire, say, a data scientist. They're hiring lots of data scientist roles. And that's something you're interested in pursuing. Um, with a traditional e-learning platform, how do you transition from one role to another? Other than having a course inside that platform that was named, or that was called helping Peter transition from a finance role to a data scientist role at ABC organization, there really isn't an easy way or a clear way to help people do that. But if you think about it, that's what people are looking for today. They're looking for ways to transition their skills and move along and grow in their organization or grow into their next role for their future. From my perspective, if we're not offering that, then that's where we get what we've traditionally got with e-learning platforms. We get people that find it too difficult to perform the tasks that they need. They disengage. They then go focus somewhere else. So imagine in Udemy that you could go into the platform and say, "Hey, Udemy, in natural language, in your own language, I'm currently in finance at ABC company. Here are my current credentials. Here are my current skills. Help me find a path to transition into this new role as a data scientist. Here are the specific skills my organization is looking for to have to fulfill the needs of this role. Um, Help me build a path of transition to that role." Um, that's the kind of help and support that individuals and organizations and people are looking for today. And it's not just a matter of throwing hundreds of courses at the problem and hoping that they're going to go through them because you'll get that same problem of disengagement. This is a very different proposition. Yes, you'll get access to videos that specific to those topics, but you'll also get access to role plays that you can customize specifically for you to help you, build confidence and learn the role as you go along. Assessments that will help you validate the skills that you're learning along the way. Even labs, practice environments. If there's certification requirements, it'll make those recommendations. And like any other AI tool, you can refine the prompts and refine it down as you learn more about what you need to transition. You can continue to ask it to iterate and focus and really narrow it down. So it's so personalized specifically to you. You can see a really clear path of how you transition those skills into the new role. So, as I said, it's a complete reimagination and transformation of what we've done in the past. And I'm really excited about what that can bring for people.
Yes, that's really exciting. That really is a very clear differentiation from any other sort of trading platform. That's exciting for people looking to upskill and for companies looking to help their people transition. Actually, interestingly, obviously that was an example where you talked about, if Peter wants to become a data scientist, but I understand from the latest Udemy Learning Index that really there is a huge surge in demand for AI at the moment. Do you know, I guess, what's driving that trend and why is AI training becoming so critical today?
Yeah, look, it's a really interesting topic. And what I can say that there's no playbook for AI. Be great if there was, but I think at this stage, at a high level, it looks like every organization is diving headfirst into AI. And when you look at the skyrocketing utilization of AI content in our platform, the data seems to support that. But the reality on the ground, I think, looks really different. And I can give you an example. I am privileged enough to have access to thousands of customers across the APAC region that I get opportunity to talk to. And what's clear is that organizations and industries are on very different paths and very different journeys when it comes to the application of Gen AI tools in their business. So I've got a couple of examples that sort of may give some clarity to that. I was lucky enough to be in Japan recently. It was beautiful and warm compared to the Melbourne weather, but in that I was visiting a huge global conglomerate in Japan, and we were discussing. They've been a customer for a long time. We've been discussing their upskilling trends, their requirements, and they were really clear as we got on the topic of AI that AI was not a thing for them right now. This is
Right.
a huge company with 100,000, hundreds and thousands of people, global audience, and as we sort of expanded on it, their leadership had essentially banned all use of Gen AI technology in their business or paused it. Um, and they are acutely aware of its ability to disrupt their industry and the benefits of productivity for their employees. But what we heard was securing the data and the potential
Yeah.
misuse of that technology. That was something that they were still grappling with, right? So they're on the start of their journey. But from my view, and we've discussed this with them, I almost think that AI literacy for them is more important now than ever. I mean, if they're embarking on that journey, they've got an opportunity to educate people in the right way. So it's an extreme example, but it's a big challenge for companies, right? And I'll give you one in Australia as well. We're seeing the banking industry grapple with the benefits of you know the benefits versus the risk of AI, if you like. We're working with a large bank, one of the largest banks in Australia, and they closely monitor and limit the use of AI across their workforce. They use it, but they're cautious in the way they approach it. They see the benefits, but they're going to limit to a select few tools for now because obviously security is a big issue for banks. But when you look at the data that from their usage of their employees, what you see is a huge spike in all the traditional AI tools that we all know. We're seeing the employees gravitate to those tools, although they don't have access to them inside their organization. You can see there's an appetite, growing appetite for that, right? Um, and then the extreme of that is our professional services customers, who are consuming AI content at unprecedented rate. But again, different use case. They encourage innovation in AI. They're reskilling hundreds of thousands of employees every year. They're building businesses and AI practices. And essentially, that's going to allow them to generate revenue. So they've got a very different motivation, those skills, and very different priorities. So it's clear it's a really mixed bag, but no matter where you are in that on that journey, I'm confident that you need a plan for AI literacy and the data supports that.
Yeah, brilliant. No, very true. And actually, a lot of companies are talking about AI this, AI that, but your report also highlights that there's a major increase in leadership training. And I guess, in this world where anybody can say to an LLM type product like ChatGPT, give me some code or write this letter, Udemy's effectively saying that leadership and communication skills are still really vital in this world. I guess what's up with that?
Yeah, look, it's a really interesting topic, right? And it's I think we need to ask that question more. Why is leadership skills, why are personal and power skills important when we can tend to be focusing on AI content and all of those technologies that are evolving so quickly. And we're seeing AI reshaping jobs. It's reshaping whole industries, and it's easy to focus there and just forget about everything else. But human skills like leadership, communication, emotional intelligence, they're more important now than ever before. Technology, the AI is going to do a lot more stuff for us, and really, we're going to be left with what we can bring to the table from a human interaction. And AI can't replace great leadership. I don't believe it can. I'm not sure if you feel the same way, David, but I'm sure you do.
Yep.
People still want to work for leaders who inspire,
Yes.
communicate well, they manage effectively. Yeah. So in an era of AI, I think soft skills like creative thinking and resilience and agility, all of those types of critical skills. I think they're more critical than ever. And to fully leverage, if you go back to AI, to fully leverage AI potential as an individual, as a business, I think organizations need to consider that change is real, and they need to actively drive change, not just survive constant change, if that makes sense. And
Yes.
the good news from a data perspective is that we're seeing it reflect that. So we've seen increases, pretty significant increases in things like problem solving, up 103% on our platform.
Wow.
Team building,
Yes.
because working in teams and leveraging that technology are important, up 79%. Business communication, how to communicate better, 41% increase. So look, I'll say in my 30 years of doing this, getting people to value and focus on soft skills has been my biggest challenge and the industry's biggest challenge.
Yep.
And I think, to be honest, as an industry, the industry, most soft skills courses are really generic, and they find it hard to relate to.
Yep.
It doesn't relate to their immediate circumstances. So AI, like technology like role play and these kinds of things, and we can talk about that in a minute. That's changing the game. So we can explore that, but from a soft skills, leadership skills, personal skills perspective, it's essential and growing.
Yeah, awesome. What about cybersecurity, as well as AI being in the news? The other big thing that we're often hearing at ITWire is, cybersecurity is
Yeah.
paramount, and we've got skills shortages. Do you see there also an increasing demand for cybersecurity as well as data and AI and leadership?
Yeah, like I think as I spoke about before, some of those organizations were reluctant to
Yeah, of
to
course.
dive because of those challenges, right? So I'm not an expert on data security by any means, but I think in Australia, I mean, we're almost daily hearing about this organization breach that organ. I think what happened yesterday with a major retailer, right? So,
Yes.
especially when you control, people's personal information, it's incredibly important that organizations are focusing on that. So they're evolving too, cybersecurity threats, getting more sophisticated. But good news is, I think our data suggests that businesses are responding to upskilling. We saw a 47% increase in growth of learning in cybersecurity training across the world. So yeah, it's definitely there. It's on people's minds. In Australia, in particular, we've seen an increase in data analytics training, a little
Okay.
different to cybersecurity, but relates the same way. And that's been a huge 50+% increase in enrollments in those courses across Australia. And I think as AI adoption grows, so does the need for more cybersecurity and more experts to safeguard the systems. More AI data, and speaking to experts in my business that deal with it, more AI means more data, and more data means greater need for cybersecurity. Business needs to up skills to stay protected, right? So if you're not seeing those trends in your business, I think if you're not seeing people gravitate to that content, then that could be an indication that your workforce is not AI ready. It's not really
Mm.
considering the impact that AI could have. So yeah, it's a big deal, and it's getting bigger.
Yeah, fantastic. And I mean, this all makes a lot of sense. Everything you're saying is fantastic and fascinating. But I guess so it makes sense for organizations to want to upskill their people. But what about, let's say, average guy here, maybe enjoy my job and, like doing what I do. What incentive or what does upskilling do for the individual and their careers, and particularly, I guess, IT professionals? Is upskilling something they front of mind, and should it be front of mind?
Yeah, absolutely, it should be. I was thinking about this topic, and it's obviously really pertinent for us in our industry and our business. But that rapid evolution of technology, I see it like a snowball rolling down a mountain, right? It's getting bigger and bigger, it's moving faster and faster. So as an IT professional, right, how do you know how relevant the skills you have today will be in the future? That's the question you've got to ask yourself. And then from an organizational perspective, how many organizations, and you probably see this, David, in your dealings with different companies and different people, how many organizations can confidently say that they have the organizational capability today to even meet the needs of the demands for today, let alone 12 or 24 months from now?
Yeah,
So, we can't see the future, but we need to accept that change is inevitable. And to ensure any chance of long-term business success, enterprise learning and or individual learning and skills development has to be a strategic or personal priority. And to be honest, you know, I get to work with many organizations. So many of them still, I feel, are burying their heads in the sand a little bit and not prioritizing that investment in skills development for their business or for their employees. And that's one of the top reasons why people leave an organization. Um, so you need to put tools and resources in the hands of employees that can help them react to what's coming their way. I mean, you know, that snowball effect. And to be honest, I'm going to say this, and it sort of, it's a bit of a blight on our industry in the past. Existing e-learning platforms, the way that it just hasn't really solved the problem, I don't think, and that's why we're having to heavily invest in AI, in the space of AI. Employees, especially IT professionals, they need to see platforms like Udemy as essential to their development and their future as Spotify would be to entertainment. It needs to be at that level. We need to grow to that level, but we can't do that unless we can hyper personalize it, like I spoke about before.
yeah,
Um, because career growth, job security, that's what people are concerned about right now. And if you're not focused there, and it's not just for tech teams, it's for all teams. AI is transforming the way everybody will work. So yeah, it's incredibly important to think about it from a personal perspective and a business perspective. How am I leveraging learning to secure my future? Yeah,
yes.
it's topic.
And as you spoke about, not just the concrete technical skills, but you spoke about, the soft skills. A lot of people are not thinking about that as well, aren't they? So I suppose what would be some of the top, I guess, soft skills that you would recommend that maybe IT professionals or other, people more in more technical industries should be thinking about, as well as AI, data, cybersecurity. What are the maybe the top soft skills that are popular among Udemy or that you'd recommend?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's pretty broad, as you can imagine, but some of the ones that come to mind and we see our customers focusing on, critical thinking is a really big
Uh,
one. You know, you can have the most powerful AI tool in front of you, but if you can't identify and understand what the business problem you are trying to solve is, how could you possibly get the right prompts in and the right information in to have it support you in your, on your journey to leverage that technology? So I think that's a really important one that we're seeing people focus on. Communication skills and being able to so effectively communicate. Once you've got that data and that information, how do you then go out to the organization that you need to and communicate that and drive change? Change management's another one because there is constant change. There's constant change in our organization, in our customers' organizations, and that really, when you build that in with resilience, having to have resilience, and it can be overwhelming if you think about it. I mean, you're thinking about your career. Have I got the right skills? Am I using this properly? Am I going to be ready? Am I keeping pace? That resilience, those topics are incredibly important. And then the last one for me is, and we touched on it before, but leadership skills. Most people leave their organization because of their leader.
yeah.
That's the number one reason that they leave. So if we don't have those skills, we can put as much technology in front of people as we like. They're not going to be able to be effective in their roles. It's so important.
No, so true. That's wonderful. No, they're great suggestions. Thank you. And Peter, I'm interested as well. You mentioned a couple of times role play, and I think we all know, what the concept of role play is, but Udemy has released a specific product feature called role play. Is that correct? And what is role play, and how can people use that to help themselves?
Yeah, yeah, it is, and look, it's really cool. But I'll give you some context first before we sort of dive into it. Role plays have been in e-learning has been around for a long time. You know, and it's an essential opportunity for an individual to practice what they're learning and validate that their skills are, that they get that they're being able to apply those skills in a simulated environment. So as a concept, role plays are great. Problem is that with traditional role plays is that they're built very much for that particular course, and they're very generic because they have to be. You have a generic course with a generic topic, and you're trying to get people to engage it, and you've got a generic role play. And the industry in itself, they've used technology to build those role plays, and they've been just inside a course. The difference between that and what Udemy's doing is, yes, we're still giving our instructors the ability to build role plays inside our courses, um, but we're giving them the tools to do it using AI so they can build them and iterate on them constantly. We started this journey about 2 months ago. We have over 5,000 role plays inside our collective library today, inside courses. 5,000 in 2 months. Traditionally, it took months and months to build 10. Now, I mean, that's the evolution of the technology. And inside that, half of those role plays have been edited since they were first created. So what that's saying is that people that are using their role plays are coming back and saying, hey, that was too hard, or that didn't really make sense, and can you refine this? So they're responding to that feedback, which is, again, that's making those role plays more effective and more relevant. But that's not even the best part. The best part is we are taking that technology that we've given to our instructors, and we are giving it to our customers. So then you now have the power to create role play specific for you, for your personal use or for your business. I'm going to give you an example. And as leaders, we've all been this. You're about to go into a difficult conversation with someone, right? Imagine being able to write a prompt inside the role play tool saying, this is my current scenario. Here's my employee. Here are the challenges I'm having. I'm about to go in and have a difficult conversation. I anticipate this as a response. Build out a role play that allows me to practice that and iterate and change and evolve depending on the questions I'm asking. Really challenge me and push me to the limits. The ability to be able to do that on the fly and then have it built that quickly for you, you can practice in that environment. Imagine the confidence you can go into that actual conversation with us. You've had an opportunity to practice in a safe environment. Using a role play in a traditional course could never let you do that. So it's more than a learning tool. It's the ability to build confidence and validate and practice and learn. And you can do it in any capacity that you want to. We use Gong as a tool, and Gong is a tool that records conversations between, a salesperson, maybe and a customer. It records everything that happens, and the managers can come in and view that afterwards, and they can give feedback. Imagine if you could take that whole recording, put it into a role play, and say, build a role play for that person, and
No,
let them
no,
practice that
yeah.
that meeting again, so they can practice again and again, fixing the challenges and mistakes they made along the way. I mean, that's the power. We can do that today at Udemy. So that's the power of role plays. And one more thing I want to talk about: the North Star for every learning organization has been, and learning in general, and every learning development organization in the world has been learning in the flow of work. Not having to come out and go into a course and come back in. That's where you lose people. That's where, it's difficult. But imagine if you in your normal AI tools, or you're in Gong, or in whatever tools, and it's got AI technology. Today, well, so very soon, we're about to release a product that allows you to do all the things I talked about, all the things we talked about inside your own AI tools. So rather than ever leaving the workflow that you're in, you can ask it, build a role play, build a custom learning path for me, send that, all of those things are available inside the flow of work. So learning is no longer a scheduled time to learn and you go off and do it and come back. It's now constantly available to you to evolve and iterate and plan as you go along. So yeah, the future this is just the start. We've just started this journey. I mean, I can't imagine what it's going to be in 12 months' time. If we get a chance to speak to you again, David, hopefully I can bring a lot more cool stuff to you. But yeah, it's amazing.
No, that's so exciting. I'm inspired. I'm gonna after we finish talking, I'm gonna go to Udemy and
I'll
check
give you
out.
access, David. I promise I'll get you some access. No problem.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. But I'll check out some courses on data science and AI and cybersecurity, but also leadership, communication, change management, resilience, and check out some role plays. There's a lot. But no, but that's wonderful. That's very exciting. And everything you've mentioned, absolutely, I can see the impact and the relevance. It's really, really exciting for people who are committed to learning everywhere. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's a really exciting journey we're on. Our leadership at Udemy is, passionate about transforming the way people learn. We've always been about democratizing learning, connecting someone that's passionate about teaching a topic with someone that's passionate about learning a topic, no matter where they are, anywhere in the world. We can do it in multiple. Everything I talked about, we can do in multiple languages too.
Wow.
It's going to make learning available at the point of need to every individual, no matter where you are, no matter what you want to do. There should be a path for you to realize your dreams with learning, and that's why I love this organization and been in this space for so long. I've tried to get out a few times, but it's like the mafia. They keep dragging me back in. There's so much cool stuff to do. So yeah, about the
Excellent.
future.
No, wonderful. And I love what you just said about realizing your dreams through learning. That's wonderful.
Yeah, right.
Excellent. No, well, thank you so much. So that's been the Udemy Vice President and Managing Director for Asia Pacific, Peter Kokkinos. Thank you so much, Peter. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you, David. Likewise.